Hello friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks workshop, and we've all heard the term busier than a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest, I guess. Well, I think I'm even busier than that. I think I'm busier than a cat covering up crap on a marble table. No video last week, just no excuses, just tons of work, and it just takes too long to put a video out sometimes. I've got tons of video in the can that could be edited and put out, but I just haven't had a chance to edit it. The editing is what takes so much time. So I'm squeezing this video in. Today is November 3rd. It is not yet 6:30 in the morning. That's how early it is. And I just couldn't sleep. I got so much on my mind. I got so many projects and so many things to do. The work here in the shop is definitely busy, but that's not the only projects. So I thought I'd give you an update here of what's going on and show you some of the projects that I've got going on, and we'll get to those here in just a minute. But first I want to make kind of an announcement about the channel, the Rosa Stringworks workshop. I've been in this shop here for I don't know, probably since 2001, so 14 or so years, something like that. I built this shop from the ground up, kind of like a house, but yet a shop, so that eventually I could convert it to a house. Now, the thought being I would either convert it to a house for rental, for extra income, or I would convert it to a house for my wife and myself to live in as we get older. It's a small house, easy to heat and cool and all that, and keep clean and all that. So the handwriting's on the wall. My house that we live in presently is across the valley over to my right. It's a huge house. It's like over 6,000 square feet. It's solid concrete floors, like 4 fireplaces. There's an old log cabin inside the house. It's a really neat old place, but it's very hard to heat. Very hard to heat. If you've seen my other videos on the log splitter and the dump trailer and the grapple bucket and some of those things that I've built to handle firewood, I'm not making this up. People think I'm exaggerating, but the truth is, when it's in the upper teens, low 20s, I'll burn a cord of wood every 3 days. When it's in the upper 20s, low 30s, I'll burn a cord of wood about every 4 days. When it's in the mid 30s and up, about every 5 days. Now that's a cord of wood every so many days, and that, I know how big that is. That's 4 by 4 by 8. Trust me, I know. And it's unbelievable how much firewood I cut. And so we're into that firewood cutting season. That's on my brain. I've already got the wood stove fired up at the other house. So the idea here is that I'm going to have to find a different way to handle the winters at least. Because I'm getting older, and cutting that kind of firewood is unbelievable, especially when you do it all by yourself. So I'm going to convert this shop into a house, and probably my wife and I will be living in that during the winter months. We won't make it this winter. There's no way I'm going to get this all done this winter. So what that means is I have to find another place for this shop. Well, I have a machine shed across the valley, about 600 or 700 feet from here, probably about 700 feet. And the machine shed is built on a sloping hill, kind of like this, and on the upper end there's a big area. Well, it's not real big, it's like 24 by 24, something like that, that I have my metal shop in. Then there's 5 bays, and then there's another room on the other end. Well, those 5 bays, I'm going to take 3 of those bays and and level them out. I've been filling it with backfill, and so I've got the pad relatively level. And we're going to pour a 24 by 36 pad there and build a new workshop. So that's going to be a long process. It's not going to happen right away. It'll probably going to take me most of the winter to get that. But I also wanted to show you about some of these projects that I've been doing over the last week. I mean, I've had a lot more projects than just these, but these were some of the interesting ones, and I thought I'd get them and show you to you. We're going to take the camera and walk around the shop here and show you what's going on and how we've worked on some of these projects. This base came into the shop last week, and was in very good shape. There's really nothing exactly wrong with it, except that the customer felt that the neck was too large. And it really was very large. It was a very large neck. It was large both thickness and width-wise. But you can see how I took the actual fretboard off, and I actually planed the thickness of the fretboard down. The fretboard was, almost, I would say 3/4 of an inch thick or more. And the customer wanted that planed down where the edges were 3/8, and so we did that. And he also wanted the neck planed down in this area, which he wanted this to be 3/4 thick here, and I've got that to the 3/4, and he wanted it 1 inch down here. Of course, he also wanted it narrowed down, so we narrowed it down to 1.5 inches up here to the full taper. And that was quite a project. So I took the fretboard off. And the interesting part of this that I thought you might find interesting is if you know anything about a bass fretboard, first of all, it's not flat on the top, but there's a steep bevel on the bass side, and then it slopes off from here down as a longer slope on the treble side. And so when you turn that over, it doesn't lay flat, of course, so I wanted to take the thickness off the backside because the backside is flat, and it would be easier to just, take it off of that rather than take it off of this compound bevel. So here's what I came up with. I used my commercial thickness sander. The belt is not on it, so I could slide it through by hand. I'm going to call it a sled, I guess is a better name. And this sled has a groove cut down through it. And you can see that it kind of roughly matches the profile of the bass fretboard. So I could invert the bass fretboard, lay it down on here. I have sticky tape on both sides and stuck the fretboard right to this. I measured on both ends with a thickness or a height gauge to measure the back side of the fretboard, the flat side, from the table down and from the table down on this end, so that I knew I had the fretboard running perfectly flat. Then I could hand feed it through this thickness there on this sled, and it just worked perfectly. So I was able to cut the thickness of that fretboard down really, really accurately. Okay, this cello came in, and basically it came in for a setup. The strings were way too high, so I was able to cut the bridge down. The bridge is in still pretty good shape, so I basically just cut the bridge down and got the action better. I planed the whole fretboard on this cello too, because it's not a real ebony fretboard. It's I don't know, I didn't even notice what kind of wood it was, to be perfectly honest with you. But it's some other wood that I'm not even familiar with. It may be some other exotic. I doubt it's rosewood. But anyway, I planed it down level. Because part of it was showing the natural wood and part of it was black. So I just kind of planed it all down level and then re-dyed it all black so that it all matches again. And the nut up here at the peg head, the nut was way off center. And in other words, there was a lot of space on the treble side and there was almost no space on the bass side. So I basically took the nut and just moved it over that direction. It leaves a little bit of a gap over here, but instead of building a whole new nut, that saved the customer a lot of time and money, since we're on basically a budget again. And then I also cleaned up the back of the neck. There was a lot of pitting and grooves in there. This was a student bass from a school. A student cello from a school. And so it had a lot of nicks and things, and so we've basically been touching all those up with dye and stuff too. But I'm sure the customer's going to be very happy, because now the action, I've lowered the action up here at the nut, also lowered the action here, spread the strings out. That's another common problem with violin family instruments, is that they often put the strings real close together on the bridge, and they often put the strings real close together up here at the nut. Here's a first timer for me. I haven't ever seen a guitar just like this one before. It is a Fender Palomino. And the Fender Palomino, let's just put it in the nicest terms I can. It's in really bad shape. That's the nicest thing I can say about it. What's so bad? Okay, well, first of all, it's got lots of cracks down the finish here, which it looks like finish cracks at first, but they actually move. The top is actually cracked. They follow the grain line exactly, so you can see them. That wouldn't be too bad, except for, but they're also wavy like this. I'm sure it doesn't show up too good, but you can see it a little bit in the video there, that they're pretty darn wavy. It's like this. And what's really bad though is this bridge area. You can probably tell the bridge is not even sort of straight on there. An amateur tried to repair this and put it back on, and I hope I can get this on video. Put it this way, if the glue wasn't there, I could probably, I don't know, the blade of a pocket knife would slide through there, no problem, wouldn't touch anything. Matter of fact, this blade right here, as thick as it is, it's probably 100 thousandths thick. It would slide through there, and you can see it actually does. The end of it actually slides under there. See? It disappears. You can see it disappear there. So it would actually slide all the way through. That's how high the bridge is off of the top when they glued it. They didn't get it straight. Just tons of glue there. And if that wasn't the worst, well then, in this area here, because it's so low, when I look inside, you can see that this part of the top is pushed way down inside. It is a big mess. Trust me, it's a mess. Now that wouldn't be so bad. I keep saying they've got a tension bar in here, and it's a piece of metal. It's about the size of a broomstick or a little bit smaller. Goes all the way from the neck block or to the tail block, and I can't get my hand in there. It's solid. You can't get it out. It's just a mess. I mean, it really is. I don't know what I can do to this thing. Short of taking it apart, it's going to be really hard to bar. I can get my hand in so far, but then my hand now is touching the top of the guitar and the bar is on the bottom of my hand. So I can't go any further in there. It's stuck right there. It's as far as I can go. So it's going to be a real treat to fix this. This brings me to another guitar I'm going to show you, because let's assume I can fix all this. Well, I'm going to have to make a new bridge. This bridge is just a wreck. It's pieces are broke out of it here. It's got one of those adjustable areas here, which I don't like anyway. So I'm going to make a matching bridge that matches this same shape and everything, but I'm going to put a regular saddle in it. And to put that saddle in there, you have to be able to find the intonation. Well, I work off of the back here, and I hook 2 strings on, and I slide this bridge around until I get the intonation proper. That part's not a problem, but cutting that slot in there is always a problem. So I made a new shop tool to do that, and I'll show you on another guitar how that shop tool works. Okay, this looks like a Gibson Hummingbird a little bit, but it is not a Gibson Hummingbird. It's a knockoff. It's a Conqueror. This guitar came in and had the adjustable mess in here, and I took it out. The bridge had to come off of this, and I took the bridge off. I filled the slot with some new rosewood, the great big slot that they carve in there for the adjustment. I filled it with rosewood, got it perfectly planed out and smooth. Then I had to recut the slot to make the intonation correct. Well, I'm always having to do that. It seems like I'm always having to cut these slots, and what I usually do is I make a wooden block here, and I just make one custom to each guitar. I decided to make me a universal tool that I could adjust, and so what I did was I got this plastic, which is really smooth plastic. I don't know the name of the plastic, to be honest, I'm sorry. But anyway, you can adjust this, you know, in all different directions and different angles. So basically you clamp this down to the guitar here on the ends, and then I take this other piece and slide it in front of the bridge. And so now I have a place for my router to ride, and this fence here guides my router to make that slot in the exact right. So you can see, I've been busy. I've still got more instruments to work on. I've got a lot of firewood to cut. I've got a new shop to build, and if that wasn't busy enough, at 9 o'clock today, I've got somebody coming to record downstairs in the recording studio. So just hard to keep up with it all. Hope you enjoyed this little short video, and thank you for your time. Tell your friends about the channel. Please subscribe. Click the subscribe button. That way you'll be notified of the new videos that come out. And thank you very much for watching.